If you have an instrument rating sitting on your to-do list, stop what you're doing and listen to this. On October 27, the FAA is changing the instrument rating written test. Not the passing score, not the number of questions, it's changing the one thing that every test prep course you ever used is built on. And most people going to walk into that test have no idea. Here's how the written test has worked as long as any of us has been flying. You walk into the testing center, they hand you a booklet, the Airman Knowledge Test Supplement, and every chart, every approach plate, every performance chart you ever need is in this one book. Figure 1 through figure whatever, the question says refer to the figure 24, you flip this book to page 24, and there's the information that you need to answer the question. That booklet is public, and it's public for decades, so you can download it right now for free off the FAA's website, which means that every ground school, every app, and every test prep provider on the market has built their entire product around these exact same figures, the same charts, the same plates, the same numbers. Starting October 27 of this year, the instrument rating test, the IRA, will include questions with images embedded directly into the questions, so no more going back to the booklet. It's going to be right in front of you. The FAA is pulling from the current sectionals, the current instrument approach plates, current low altitude charts en route. It's going to be sharper, it's going to be current, but this is the part that we have never seen before. The same changes are going to hit the UAG test, which is the one for the 107 drone written test. So if you got somebody in your operations that's looking to get the remote pilot certificate, this also applies to them. Now, some of you are thinking, so what? It's a chart. I know how to read the chart, maybe. Let's be honest about how most people actually pass the instrument written test. They run a question bank, 2000 questions over and over again until the shape of the question is familiar to them. You stop reading the plate, you start to recognize the answers. Oh, this is the Lincoln VOR one, or hey, I know this is 4000 MSA. You start to build that memory and you're not interpreting the chart itself, you're just recalling a pattern. And that's the crutch. Now, on October 27th, that crutch is gone. You'll get an approach plate. You have to lay your eyes on it. You have to read it, understand the question, read the miss approach segment, the minimum safe altitudes, or the step down fixes. You either know how to read the chart or you don't. There's no jogging down the figure numbers from your memory and being able to answer the questions. Understanding is important, and this isn't the FAA being difficult, it's the whole point. When the FAA resigned with PSI on the testing contract, one of the stated goals was to shut down the question harvesting. If the test providers can't know the real questions, then memorizing questions stops working, and that's the direction this has been heading for years. October 27 is just where it becomes visible. Now, I'm going to be straight with you. Nobody outside the FAA and PSI knows exactly how hard these new questions are going to be, but to be honestly, I don't want to find out the day of the 28th, and that's definitely not a chance that I'm willing to take with my certificate and my training. So here's what I'm going to tell my students. If you have a pending written, take it now. And I mean now, not November, not after the holidays. If you're prepared and the test is sitting on your list, get it scheduled before October 27 and take it under the rules that you actually have been studying for. Number 2, this matters the most if you're missing the instrument written test. If you're mid-instrument training, or you've been putting it off to take the written test for a while you build your cross-country time or your commercial or CFI, whatever it is, take that test now. Use the current available material now that we know what to expect on these tests, and don't be a test puppy going to take that test after the changes. Number 3, know what a pass buys you. Passing the knowledge test is good for 24 calendar months from the end of the month you take it. Pass it on October 26 and you're covered through October 31st of 2028. That is a very, very long runway. And there's no reason to be sitting on an unfinished written test with the kind of protection available to you on the other side of one test appointment. Number 4, very important not to take the test when you're not ready for it. I want to be very clear with this because I don't want you to say, oh, I gotta hurry up and take this test and just test it and see if I pass it or not. A fail is a fail and it goes on your record. You pay again, you need a new endorsement, and you lost weeks. If you're consistently scoring in the high 80s or better with a full practice test, go and take the test. If you're at a 60%, you don't have a deadline problem, you have a preparation problem, and rushing won't fix it. Testing centers get busy, and when this word comes out about this test, they're going to get even busier. Book your appointment today, 2 to 3 weeks out. That's going to be good enough for you to have time to study. Now, here's a part nobody's talking about yet. The instrument and the drone test are the first two. They're not the last two. The FAA stated direction is to embed figures directly into questions and move away from the printed supplements across the entire board, not just the instrument, the whole system. Instrument, the drones are the first pilot programs because they're the heavy, sharp ones, and there's a lot of high volume. So look at what's left on the list: commercial, CFI, and the biggest one, the ATP written test. And if you've taken this test, which I've had the honor to do so, you know that this is very, very heavy on figures. Performance charts, takeoff and landing data, weight and balance, holding, ILS. The most figure-dependent written test the FAA gives is probably the ATP, which means it's the most exposed when this changes reaches it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, the FAA has not published a date for the ATP written test, but I'm not going to stand here and invent one. What I'm telling you is that the direction of travel is public and the ATP test is squarely in the path. And the reasonable assumption is that it's a question of when, not if. So if you're anywhere near getting your ATP, well, you better get it done. Now think about the math on this one. The ATP written test requires a CTP course first, that certification training program, and you need a graduation certificate in hand before you can actually go and sit down for the test. That is not a weekend and it's not cheap. You're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 and a week of your life. And those prices are only going in one direction. Then the payoff. A passing ATP written test is good for 60 calendar months. 5 years, not the 24 for everything else. 5 years. That is the single best value the FAA has when it comes to taking these written tests. And it's available right now. Under the rules, you can actually study for. If you're a CFI building towards those 1,500 hours, or if you're sitting at 1,100 hours wondering what the next step is, the answer is take your ATP CTP, study for your ATP written test, and take it now. If you're a CFI and ground instructor, one more thing for you. After October 27, the ground syllabus needs to change. Teaching the figure on the book is over. Your students need to be able to open any approach plate cold and they need to tell you what they're looking at. The minimums, the missed approach, the MSA, the required equipment, and the step downs. Same with sectionals and low and route charts. That's a better outcome, honestly. It's what we should have been doing all along instead of having your students memorize 3,000 questions. Now, yes, I do know that this is going to take longer for them to understand, but at the end of the day, they're going to actually learn a skill that they're going to be able to apply when they go into an airplane. So here's the bottom line. October 27 of this year, the instrument written test and the Part 107 written test is changing. Embedded charts you've never seen before. Every prep product on the market, that includes Shepherd Air, Kings, ASA, whoever you're using, it's no longer going to be exactly what you see when you go take the test. And the rest of the tests are coming, including the ATP. So if you're pending a written test, get prepared and go and take it now. The instrument one first, and then the ATP or anything else, any other writtens that you have pending that you've already been studying for, specifically with the material available now, because beginning October 27, you're going to be a test puppy. We have no idea what it's going to look like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and we'd love to see you guys on the next video.